Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 13 of our favorite rock guitar teams of all time. That's right, we're talking about two or more dudes, could be some women as well, who work together fantastically, creating some cool albums, great songs, did some great stuff together on stage. Could be two lead players working mighty fine together, could be a terrific lead guitarist and an absolutely terrific rhythm guitarist. Lots of different combinations we could do here. As we've seen all month, we've got some really good ones. There's so many more, and there's probably some I'm not even going to get to talk to because, again, we only have 31 days in this month, 31 picks here. Today, there's no way that I was going to not talk about these two here. This was actually the first time that one of the guitar players, who's actually the founding member of the band, brought in another guitar player to work alongside him, and the results were pretty magical. And it came at a time where the band had been broken up for a while and non-existent. They got back together, moved into the 80s, did some splendid things together, and played together for quite a long time, actually, into the 90s and beyond. I'm talking about Robert Fripp and Adrian Belew from King Crimson. Of course, it all started with this album right here, the Discipline album. What an incredible album. Here you have two guys that, again, sound so different from each other. Both very good rhythm guitar players. They could crank out the riffs, play all sorts of textures and things, but both pretty crazy lead players as well, and very, very different. Of course, Fripp, founding member of King Crimson, so he's had already before this album had a long career with all sorts of, seminal albums under his belt. But you had Adrian Belew, who came in fresh from, played with Frank Zappa, played with Talking Heads, played with David Bowie. So right there, did some cool things too. And this album, with songs like Elephant Talk, you have basically Belew, who is the kind of more avant-garde player of the two, I guess you could say, even though Adrian, a very talented vocalist as well, and a big fan of like pop music like the Beatles and things, but he was a more of a Strat guy who did all sorts of crazy things with his fingers and the whammy bar and using, effects and things like that, or using the guitar to make all sorts of cool noises and effects and stuff. And then you had Fripp, of course, who was a little bit more of the technician and the guy who, but he was the scales guy, could play all these amazing solos and runs and lines and things like that, but also cool, complex chords and patterns and things. So really interesting dynamic between the two guys. So again, you got Elephant Talk on here, Frame by Frame, Mate Kudasai, In Discipline, Sheltering Sky, Tala Hunjin Cheat. I mean, some amazing tracks on here. Is it prog rock? Is it like modern rock, right? What is it? It's King Crimson music. And they would continue that through, of course, Beat and Three of a Perfect Pair, right? Before kind of like going on a little bit of a hiatus for a bit and then coming back much later on in the 90s, mid-90s with Thrack. All of a sudden now they're taking basically this sort of framework from these albums, which again are very early 80s sounding, very accessible, yet very challenging musically as well. And taking this and combining it with the really noisy, experimental, loud King Crimson of the early mid-70s for, Thrack, which is noisy and metallic, and there's moments of beauty on here as well. And then, of course, you got the Construction of Light. Again, kind of more of the same from this era. The Power to Believe. These are very kind of noisy, aggressive albums that kind of play on all the eras of King Crimson. No Mellotrons to be had anywhere on here, but just lots of loud, jagged, ragged guitars, moments of pop beauty, moments of metallic fury, rhythmically totally amazing as well, because you had at various points here, you had like Tony Levin and Jerry Marotta and, Trey Gunn and all these various players who kind of came and gone from King Crimson over the course of these albums with Adrian Belew. And eventually, the Belew and Fripp partnership kind of ended. I believe they just basically wanted to go off and do separate things apart from each other. Fripp eventually just kind of kept jump-starting King Crimson once again, and Mr. Belew has done tons of solo albums and various projects here and there, but together they made a really, really special team because, again, from the very beginning, King Crimson, not really a band that you would think that two guitars would work. But on these albums, they really do, and they're fascinating together. Again, two very, very different guys, two very different approaches to the guitar, but yet you bring them together and they made a lot of magic together. And that's kind of what's cool, because I think a lot of these guitar player teams that we're talking about this month have very, very different players. There's very few that are going to be like, yeah, those guys work so well together because they were so similar. In many cases, a lot of these work so well together because they were so different. And together, they brought some different elements by combining their skills, again, whether it's two lead players or, whatever it was, they make the music all that much better because they are so different and they made it work. Not every band can do that, but a lot of the ones that I'm talking about this month actually can. So there you have it. Robert Fripp and Adrian Belew from King Crimson. Again, you got all these amazing albums here that offer plenty of glimpses of what these two guys could do together. So let us know what you think of Fripp and Belew in the comments below, and also list your pick for day 13 down in the comments below, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell. We also have the links below to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page, where you can go check out all the cool Sea Tranquility items that are available. Lots of different t-shirt designs and hats and hoodies and caps, and collect them all. And also, please make sure you hit that like button before you leave. So stay tuned. We've got what do we got coming up? We got the Monsters Den tonight, of course. The crew and I are going to be doing like a roundtable discussion on the very cool film from 2007, a great throwback anthology film called Trick or Treat. That's coming up tonight. And then tomorrow morning, Martin Popoff and I are back at the Fun House talking about our favorite rhythm sections. On Saturday, I'm skipping ahead myself. We have the UK Connection, where we'll be ranking the songs on a classic album. That classic album is The Captain and Me by the Doobie Brothers. Then we've got Sunday, Jamie Laszlo and myself will be ranking the albums of the great Swedish doom band Witchcraft. So that's coming up on Sunday. Also this weekend, we've got the return this month for The Curse of the Collector. That's also happening this weekend. So come and see what some of the guys and myself have picked up since last time we spoke to you. And till then, we'll see you soon. I am Pete Pardo. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.